In my past videos on how Naruto can save young men and magazine dreams, I spoke a lot about the issues that young men and boys face in today's time. I gave critiques on how we as a society cultivated these issues by promoting harmful ideologies that, in the long run, end up damaging men's ability to have relationship with others. This deterioration in relationship skills has fostered a male loneliness problem in the US, but the states aren't the only place that's facing this issue. Countries such as Denmark, Greece, and Japan all have the same issue, and some of the countries are even worse off than us.
This is true. Many men have grown a lot of resentment for society in the US, chronically being online and never touching grass.
Hey bro, they might be locked in. Remember what speaker knockers used to say? Hey, I had to make a couple bands by my lonely. I had to make a couple bands by my lonely.
Big bro, please. This is no time for jokes. This is a serious issue that's impacting a lot of young men.
Professor's right. This is a serious issue. Many men are really hurting silently and are being misguided. Even though a lot of the cause is self-inflicted, that doesn't mean that they are the main problem. The main problem is that society pushes a quote-unquote real man or alpha agenda and how you're supposed to act. The idea that a man should be the sole provider or breadwinner does not hold weight, especially in this economy. And with women making more money, this is just something that doesn't make sense anymore. This idea is continuously being pushed. When men meet reality, they end up resentful and start seeing women as opposition rather than a companion. Also, the idea that men should hold their emotions in isn't helping foster healthy relationships with women or even friendships with other men. All of this aids into the problem men face today, and bad faith actors are coming in telling young men how a true alpha man is supposed to be. I vehemently disagree with these red pill talking points and the influencers who push this. Now, like many other people, I'm not fond of others telling me one thing is wrong while not giving an alternative, which is why I'm making this video. I want to give that alternative of what a true man is like and who is an example that men should strive to be, which leads us to none other than
Hey, that's my boy right there. He's the coldest to ever do it.
One of the greatest characters of all time. A marvel of wisdom, I tell you.
Yes, Uncle Iroh. For those who don't know, Uncle Iroh is a character from Avatar: The Last Airbender that is the mentor of his wayward nephew, guiding him towards his path of redemption. Anyone who has watched the show most likely revere Iroh as this great sage who's an extremely powerful airbender. Although he is powerful, that is not the main reason why Iroh is so beloved by the fan base. The main reason is because of the beautiful relationship he has with his nephew. Their father and son relationship and how Iroh guides his honored, obsessed nephew into becoming a hero in the franchise is what makes him the perfect character to help guide the young men of today into what a true man should strive to be. There are three main elements about Iroh that makes him such a great example to me, and in this video, we will go over each element and examine how he portrays them throughout the series. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Errol, and this is my space. So come in and have a seat as I tell you why Uncle Iroh is the pinnacle of manliness. The first element that makes Iroh the standard of masculinity is his strength.
See, now you speaking my language. It makes sense why he was in the Fire Nation, cause wait, how that song go? You must be swift as a coursing river, with all the force of a great typhoon, with all the strength of a raging fire.
Big bruh, when did you start singing?
When them girls said your boy sound like Future Hendrix on the phone.
Hey, Professor, big bruh, enough. Y'all distracted me from my point. And nobody ever said you sound like Future, bro.
Hey now, boy, you just mad you can't pull.
Got him.
I'm going to ignore that, but as I was saying, Iroh's strength is one of the main reasons why I find him as such a good model for what a man is supposed to be like. And when I mean strength, I don't necessarily mean physically. Don't get me wrong, Uncle Iroh is nobody you want to try in a dark alley, despite his appearance. This man will burn you to a crisp in a blink of an eye, especially post-jail Iroh. My man was on that Gucci Man regimen.
Hey, Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Despite his top-level combative skills, Iroh displays an inner strength that is even arguably more impressive than his firebending abilities. Iroh through the series displays this in many different ways. One of the most noticeable situations where he displays this inner strength is with his relationship with his nephew Zuko. You see, Zuko has a lot of what we will sum up as daddy issues. And to help get his nephew on the right track, it took the patience and forgiveness of a saint. The strength to deal with this young man's rage against the world should not be looked over. Zuko would go on many tantrums, talk crazy to people, and even at one point betray his uncle, the man who loved him like a son.
Hey, that boy was foul for this.
Hey, you're right, big bro. It was a heartbreaking moment, but despite all this, Iroh never stopped believing in his nephew and that he would eventually turn things around and become one of the heroes at the end of the story. You see, Iroh has been through the story patiently guiding his nephew down the right path by providing support towards Zuko to heal from his trauma and confront his demons. Because of Iroh's patience, this leads Zuko to eventually seeing the error of his ways and eventually apologizing to his uncle. In typical Iroh fashion, he forgives his nephew, embracing him completely for finding his way back to the light. Even though I'm making this story arc very brief, I don't want y'all to look over the fact that Iroh forgave someone who betrayed him. Although it's someone he loves, it doesn't make it any easier. Matter of fact, it can even make it harder because the pain from being betrayed by someone you love hurts so much more. It takes a lot of strength to forgive and give someone another chance. Although forgiving someone takes a lot of strength, another thing that takes just as much strength, maybe even more, is to forgive yourself. Before the beginning of the show, Iroh had his own son, who he adored, named Lu Ten. Lu Ten was serving under his father as a captain in the Fire Nation army when they attempted a siege on Ba Sing Se. During this siege, Lu Ten would be killed in combat, causing Iroh to retreat and spiral into grief and depression. Due to the loss of his son, Iroh realized that his dream of becoming the destined man that conquered Ba Sing Se was all for nothing, especially at the expense of his own son. I feel a lot of us would either double down on the path to continue meaningless bloodshed or spiral in a deep depression that cripples us mentally. However, Iroh did something different before his depression took a complete hold of him. He did one of the strongest things you can do, to self-reflect on all the wrongdoings of what he and his countrymen has done to cause this turmoil in the world that would ultimately lead into the death of his son. Iroh will work on himself by doing good deeds, trying to right the wrongs of his nation. Some of the most notable examples of this would be protecting the dragons of the West, leading the secret White Lotus Society against Fire Nation, and secretly helping the Avatar continue being free. Because please believe, if Iroh really cared about capturing the Avatar, the show would have been over by like the first 5 episodes. Trying to right your wrongs like this takes a tremendous amount of inner strength for someone. Taking a look at oneself in the mirror and accepting responsibility while doing the work to earn that forgiveness, not just from others, but for yourself, is nothing to scoff at.
I'm talking about that man in the mirror. Oh yeah. I'm asking him to change his ways.
So this is your thing now? You're just going to randomly keep singing this whole video?
Hey, watch out, boy. Don't be hating. I'm just trying to add some musical effect to the vid.
Okay, whatever, man. Anyways, this strength is something that ain't found from lifting a lot of weights or from punching a bag as hard as you can, but it's found from within. When you string up the courage to look at yourself and say, hey, I was wrong, how can I do better? In the wise words of Iroh himself,
you must never give in to despair. Allow yourself to slip down that road and you surrender to your lowest instincts. In the darkest times, hope is something you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength.
Speaking of wise words, this brings me to my second element of what makes Iroh this Chad of a man is his wisdom. I think many people who have seen the show know that Iroh plays the mystic wise Asian elder that speaks in parables. Even though Iroh fits this archetype of character, that doesn't mean it's a problem. Unlike so many other characters that fit this archetype, we see that his wisdom wasn't fostered from some unknown source, but through a series of past events that adds complexity to the character. As I said before, Iroh lost his son due to his military pursuits, and this event will change him to seek peace in the world instead of causing destruction.
One can say he went from the art of war to Tao Te Ching.
Professor, that is precisely what went down with Iroh, even though I think Tao Te Ching may be a little over people's heads.
Well, I can explain.
Maybe later. Like I was saying, Iroh would experience the different lives of people and lands that would reshape his worldview. His newfound view on life with his personal life experience and extensive travel is what forms his wealth of wisdom. This wisdom is not just given to his nephew, but also other main characters, such as when he spoke to Toph about the importance of getting help from others, or speaking to Aang about how peace and happiness is better to have than power and perfection. That particular line, I know for Iroh, hit so deep for him, especially knowing that he would give up all the skills and power he gained to spend one more day with his son. His wisdom doesn't just stop at personal advice, but also on a societal view. This is seen when he is asked by his nephew, why can he not take on the Fire Lord himself, since he is the only person outside the Avatar strong enough to possibly take him down. Iroh, understanding how history reviewed this, if he defeats his brother, rejects Zuko's proposal, telling him that it would look like senseless violence because it would be seen as brothers fighting for power. The war will only lead to peace if the Avatar, being the non-political outside force, defeats the Fire Lord. He also tells Zuko that he himself cannot take the place of the Fire Lord after the war because the world needs a new face to usher in this new age of peace. This level of processing his role in the war and how society will view him if he defeats his brother, it's only possible if you can look outside of yourself and understand the perspective of others. This is true wisdom that comes from years of life experiences. These examples of Iroh passing on his wisdom to other characters in the series is something that we should incorporate into the real world. As you see, Iroh doesn't just hoard this vast amount of wisdom for himself. He spreads it to the youth so they don't have to make the same mistakes as he has, or give the youth his advice to go further in their goals than he could in his life. This is something that more men should do for younger men to help guide them from making the same mistakes that we did and help them get to a place that we ourselves had only dreamed of. It's okay to not be the main character trying to compete with the youth, but to be an elder that guides them. Rocky would not be Rocky without Mickey, and Adonis would not be Adonis without Rocky. We need men to pass on wisdom to help the next crop of young men to flourish. Also, another thing about Iroh that makes him so great is how he passes this wisdom down. Iroh never comes off as if he is judging someone or is mean-spirited about it. He always seems to share his wisdom with kindness, and even when he is being more stern, you still don't feel like he is being mean-spirited, but more so pleading out with care and concern, such as this scene with Zuko.
I know my own destiny, Uncle.
Is it your own destiny? Or is it a destiny someone else has tried to force on you?
Stop it, Uncle. I have to do this.
I'm begging you, Prince Zuko. It's time for you to look inward and begin asking yourself the big questions. Who are you? And what do you want?
Woo-wee, that was deep.
This scene here, after knowing all the trials and tribulation Iroh has been through in his life, feels like these words of wisdom are words that he would have told his younger self. Iroh was a military leader that felt him conquering Ba Sing Se and becoming the next Fire Lord was his destiny. But was that what he really wanted, or something his father instilled in him? After the death of his son, he was able to look inward and realize what he really wanted, but it was too late. He already lost what was most precious to him. This experience is something he is trying to stop Zuko from undergoing, because he knows this path he is taking way too well. Iroh has many other examples of him being wise and sharing his wisdom, but the way he divulges it to me is still the most important. A big reason why people are able to continuously look for his guidance in the show, or why us, the audience, see him as such a wise sage, is because He has something that brings me to the next reason why I think he is such a great paragon for masculinity. Iroh is almost unconditionally compassionate.
We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving.
What the hell was that?
What? You was talking about compassion, so I start singing a song that embodies it. What's the issue?
Big bruh, yes, this song does fit the word, but I can't do this singing thing, man. No.
Dang, girl, you still hating? That's crazy, bro. All right, man, I'll stop. I know you feeling the type of way that these girls be calling me the new age Barry White.
Thank you. As I was saying, compassion is a key personality trait of Iroh. This compassion attracts people to him and for the most part has people reciprocate it back. There are many people out there that may give advice that is actually good, but has zero compassion, making the receiver of this advice non-receptive. The intentions behind the advice is just as, maybe even more important than the actual advice itself. When Iroh sees Toph alone, he offers her tea and advice not because he's trying to gain something from her or speak with some superiority complex, but because he sees her suffering from something. He has a true desire to help her find peace so she can resolve the conflict within her. The difference is huge because when Toph gets advice from another character, Katara, she doesn't receive it well because she feels the way she is delivering the advice is in a know-it-all kind of way. She thinks Katara is trying to control her, and in some ways she's right. Katara has her own belief in how someone should act, and even though the advice she is giving is probably helpful, the source of the reasoning for the advice lacks compassion, making Toph non-receptive to it. While Katara did not reach Toph, Iroh did because of his compassion. This same compassion is the reason why so many characters feel so safe and confiding to him. Even if you are his enemy, people still feel drawn to be somewhat vulnerable with him because he's so compassionate. This goes to show you that you don't need to do 5,000 push-ups for someone to feel safe and protected by you, but instead being someone that's empathetic to others' feelings and having an inner warmth that gravitates others towards you. Unfortunately, this is what many people, especially of the red pill ideology, do not realize. Due to them not seeing compassion as a top priority in being a man, they lack the empathy when trying to connect with others, making it hard for genuine relationships to develop. Luckily, however, Iroh follows a more Taoist philosophy on life, where compassion is not just a cool personality perk, it's a pillar of his being.
All right, Errol, I think this is my time to shine. You mentioned Taoism, and I think I'm the right guy to explain it.
Okay, I'll let you have it, but just don't be too long.
Absolutely. Taoism is a Chinese religion and philosophy that is about living in harmony with the Tao, which is a universal force that is the underlying of all things, kind of like in Star Wars. The goal in Taoism is to align yourself with the flow of nature to achieve peace and balance. Based on the Tao Te Ching, there are 3 core treasures or core virtues: humility, frugality, and compassion. Many people think that Taoism is about not deciding to do anything, but it's not about it. It's about effortless action, finding that natural flow and not fighting against the force or the Tao.
Thank you, Professor, for that great explanation. Like I said, compassion, like in Taoism, is a core virtue for Iroh. This compassion leads him to being empathetic and courageous enough to go against all his teachings that he learned from the Fire Nation and take back Ba Sing Se for the people of the Earth Kingdom. So before I wrap this up, I want to dive a little bit more into Taoism and how it plays such a huge role in Iroh's character. As discussed earlier, Taoism is about balance. Like Iroh, the fundamental cosmic forces yin and yang represent balance, with yin being what we would consider more feminine traits such as nurturing, yielding, introspection, and adaptation, while yang has the more masculine traits of dominant, rational, assertive, and action. In red pill ideology, they would throw all the yin traits on women and all the yang traits on men. But in Taoism, both men and women are supposed to embrace both the yin and the yang to find that balance. Having the more yin trait of introspection that Iroh displays while following up with the yang trait of effective action is what makes his wisdom so useful. The yin action of nurturing followed by the assertive action of standing up for others is the compassion he used for freeing Ba Sensei. Now, strength is more seen as a yang trait for sure, but you need that yin trait of yielding to not turn yourself into a tyrant. Iroh balancing all this out to be able to have strength, be wise, and compassionate is what makes him the ideal man. He does not shy away from more feminine traits, he embraces them to make him the full human being he is. This is what certain men of today need to realize. You can't have strength, be wise, and compassionate with only performing in these rigid beliefs of masculinity. You will always fall short because you are not including those feminine attributes. He can dominate you in a fight, but also be nurturing to others. He can be confident in himself, but also adapt accordingly. This is what I strive to be, and what I believe other men should do too. The strength to protect, the wisdom to teach, and the compassion to love is what it means to truly be a man. Hopefully this video on Iroh can help you or others you know be able to open their minds to a more well-rounded version of masculinity that I believe will help in making better men for the future. For all those who made it to the end of the video, thank you. And if you feel that I missed anything, please leave a comment on the video and subscribe so you can catch new ones. Again, my name is Errol, and this is my space. And I'll see y'all next time.